She was accustomed to coming here. She was an assassin embroiled in a sultry web of blackmail and deceit. The risks were burgeoning, jeopardizing her life, her career, her very soul if she still had one. Desperate to find links of cohesion in the blackmailer's binding and lethal contracts, she knew she would have to uncover any related details that she could access in each victim's background. And though her intent purpose was to eliminate the controlling influence behind these hits, the truth remained that acquiescing to the foreboding demands of an anonymous extortionist was making her not only an accomplice, but was threatening the core of her very being. And ultimately, Alexa Sylvan had to concede that this was not the normal career of a fashion designer, nor was it the reason she'd spent an eternity in training to become an Olympic sharpshooter. She became tenacious that she would not continue to be this ogre's hired gun. Her career and well-being depended on it, and her career ambition should not have attracted dangerous liaisons. She needed to discern the root and identity of this evil entity that was pervading her life. Nonetheless, there she was, hiding outside the familiar payoff site following her recent hit, as she waited impatiently for the police activity to subside in the city, which she knew could possibly take an hour or more. In her quest to reveal her blackmailer's true identity, she decided to start right then and there to not only recall details of her recent past, but to discern possible clues as to why he ensnared her in this perilous venture. So where did this nightmare begin? Alexa had to go back to that night. She closed her eyes and vivid memories of her inevitable quarrel with her father flooded her mind. She was fresh out of college and wanted to take an internship to train in one of Paris's top design houses, against her father's plans for her to compete in the Olympics as a world-class sharpshooter. He was a preacher who'd lost his focus. Alexa's thoughts wandered back to the present, not only searching for details that could help her discover how Angelo knew so many facts about her, but wanting exoneration from the crushing guilt she carried in her heart each and every day. She remembered her childhood home in Florida, she and her father arguing over her career ambitions. He confronted her with her approved French work visa and her secrecy about fashion training in Paris. She argued that he had tunnel vision and wouldn't have listened. He'd demanded for the Olympics to come first and that she was throwing away his dreams, ones that were deferred when he got drafted before he could compete. Alexa asked him how she was going to make a living as a sharpshooter and reminded him it was only a hobby, but fashion designing was her career choice. But it was irrelevant to her father. He'd called her a self-seeking ingrate. Their conflict ended in one inevitable burst of his temper and reprehensible lack of self-control. She had crossed the line and there was no retreat. Her dad grabbed her regional trophy from the mantelpiece and waved it menacingly in her face. Defiantly, she had turned to her mother for support. She had stood her ground and folded her arms, refusing to cower before him. In a fury, he had swung the trophy at her, but her mother had instinctively leaped between them, and the trophy had come down squarely on her head. In her mind, Alexa once more felt intense anguish as she recalled watching her mother fall unconsciously to the floor. He dropped the trophy and stood paralyzed, drained of his anger and unable to rationalize. He grabbed the travel case containing her Olympics qualifying rifle and threw it into the fireplace. She took the poker and extracted the case from the fire, inadvertently knocking some of the glowing kindling loose from the burning logs and onto the carpet. Little undetected sparks began to smolder around the fireplace. Down the hall, glass was breaking. She rushed to the gun cabinet where he was loading his Glock. Then he raised it to his head, but she threw herself upon him and a struggle ensued. A single shot was fired and he collapsed to the floor. She found his pulse and went to the phone just as the carpet and drapes caught flame. Calling 911, she screamed that an intruder attacked them and their house was on fire. She cut through the mounting smoke, determined to pull her parents out of the growing inferno, and dragged each of them safely to the front lawn. She rescued her travel documents and the Bible that held the history of their family. She crammed her dad's Glock into her purse and left her seriously wounded mother and father on the lawn, a safe distance from the burning house. As she ran, she knew no one would have ever believed her respected father, Pastor John O'Sullivan, was capable of such a heinous crime. She'd started to run from the catastrophe, but turned around. She knew she'd be back some day for her rifle, so she went to her favorite oak tree and tossed her rifle case into the branches. As she approached the front sidewalk, lights came on and an engine started down the street. A delivery truck pulled from the curb half a block away and quickly disappeared. Suddenly, Alexa forced these unbearable scenes to pause and considered this small detail. She didn't know why this should seem significant now, but she trusted her instincts and made a mental note for later. Unhappily, she needed to continue searching for any other details she'd previously ignored, so she thought back to the remainder of that night's events and what she did after leaving home permanently. She rapped on a sleeping cabbie's window and startled him awake as she climbed into the back seat for a speedy trip to the airport. That's when she found close to $7,000 tucked inside the hollowed-out center of the Bible. She zipped the money into the inner pockets of her purse and wedged the Glock into the Bible. That's when she created a new version of their Irish name and changed O'Sullivan to Sylvan. She would take on a whole new identity and protect her family's legacy. She didn't think she was running from them, just the mess that would be left when the smoke cleared. Season 1, Episode 1 of Fashion Assassin Podcast, read by the author from the trilogy Consuming Fire, an Alexa Sylvan novel by C.B. Hoffman. Available on Audible, Amazon, iBookstore, and BarnesandNoble.com and cbhoffman.com.